Hey guys, welcome back to Real Housewives Recaps. I'm so glad you're here. I'm still on a break, but I had to jump back on my mic because I have so much to say. First of all, again, a huge thank you to everybody who's been wishing me a happy birthday. I appreciate that so much. Jay and the Gosling have been spoiling me rotten. It's been amazing. Speaking of amazing, the response to yesterday's video has been incredible. Thank you all so much for watching. So many people really responding to First Lady of Nigeria and her reaction to Meghan, and I'm just loving it. I really am. There's been a pretty big fallout, it seems, and it's interesting to watch. The Lemon Rats are trying to say that the royal family got to her, and that's the reason she's saying all this. They're being vile. What else is new? Of course they are. They're attacking Catherine. That's part of their distraction tactic to go back to attacking Catherine. But also they're attacking the First Lady of Nigeria's daughter as well. It's really quite disgusting, but I wouldn't expect anything else out of them. And again, further interesting to see that Harry and Meghan just let it happen. Don't say a word to call off their followers whatsoever. It's really awful to watch. But the fallout has been incredible, and it's great to see more people cluing into just how narcissistic, I mean, both of them really are. And I'm enjoying it, but I have so much more to say, more things I want to talk about today. So let's get into this. Again, I'm Jen. If you're new here, honk honk, everyone. All right, I want to go into this and I want to get your thoughts on this. J.E. May / Duchess Marmalade, still a great name, poses this question. Facing some blowback from the Nigerian trip, will Meghan continue to claim Nigerian heritage and cheer for Nigeria at Invictus, or is she done with that? You can see by the check mark what my answer is. I believe her answer will be no. Nigeria who, question mark. So it looks like 9% of voters out of 729 votes have said yes, sister for life, but everybody else, 90% has said no, Nigeria who. I've been thinking about this a lot. Had the trip not been such a failure, and it is such a failure, it really is incredible. I knew that they would cock it up, but not to this level. Had it not been such a failure, I believe she would have held on a little longer and eventually changed it. But I think she's going to try to distance herself as quickly as she possibly can, and will eventually gaslight us into thinking, well, I never said I was from Nigeria, what? Furiosa thinks she'll announce that she misread the report and she's actually 4.3% and then claim another country. I totally get where you're going with that, and I find this answer very funny. I love the 4.3%. But I don't think she'll ever admit she's done a single thing wrong. Not ever, ever. So she won't say that she misread it. It's that Harry misread it. Or that, I don't know, that her genealogist is the Eastwards and they misread it. Something like that. It'll be somebody else's fault, never hers. Right? And then we have Fee Button says, after what the Nigerian First Lady said about her, Markle will be apoplectic with narcissistic rage. Here's hoping. She bears grudges forever. No, she'll be done with Nigeria now and find somewhere else to use for her own purposes. After all, she's now invited herself to Ghana. Watch this space. So I've heard the same. I've heard the Ghana rumblings. I really wonder. I mean, I know how rumors spread around. I figure it'll be somewhere. I don't know if it'll be Ghana or not. It'll be interesting to see. And regardless, they are going to make such you-know-whats out of themselves. It's going to be hilarious to watch. Then we have Meghan's mic. She says she's one and done, just like her jam. I'm still, you guys, I will not let go of this jam. The worst launch in the history of the world. And the only thing that's distracted me from the worst launch in the history of the world is the worst trip. It's like they keep just continuing to go lower, not just in what they're saying, it's how they're acting as well. It's incredible to watch. But yeah, one and done, just like her jam. I don't know. After the Malta, this isn't one, right? This is two. Maybe it's two and done, just like her jam. All right, then we have Vitamin C that says, personally, I'm waiting for the equivalent of Archie was in danger of his life from fire. Do you remember the South Africa incident? She's pointing out that something similar will have come out from Nigeria, anything to make themselves the victim, of course. But yeah, I still obsess about that South Africa. I mean, everywhere they go, they're disasters. But you remember that, claiming that there was a fire and people have come forward and said, no, no. There was something like smoke from a heater or something, and he wasn't even in the nursery at the time. But of course, big old victim she is, had to spin it as, oh, he's in danger. But remember, she also called it housing, where she was staying in South Africa, and not the actual, what was it, governor's mansion that they were put up in. No, no, always the victim, always downplaying everybody else's everything, and making herself the hero of every single story. Soap, anyone? Okay, I've been wanting to talk about this. Tell me you've seen this. This was shared by the official office of CB, friend of the show. Hi, if you're watching. Slack Alice, no blinking decorum whatsoever. Tell me you've seen this. So you have a right tit and Harold over there. By the way, the Sugars are coming out of the woodwork, and of all things to take issue with, they get so mad when I call him Harold. Listen, if they can't get Catherine's name right, I can't get his name right. So Harold it is. So Harold is the right tit here. And then we got the left tit, which I've had to cover up with an actual tit. But yeah, this is a thing going around. You can actually see somebody got photos, full-on boob hanging out in Nigeria too. So not just, you know, an awful dress. And again, the First Lady giving speeches about how she's walking around all naked. Well, she actually was, because her boob was out. All right, then we have Mystified saying, nobody's wondering why the First Lady of Nigeria mentioned Meghan coming to Africa during her speech about saving children and decency. Since the Harkles paid for local press coverage, the First Lady couldn't miss any of Meghan's inappropriate fashion choices, even though the lovely Nigerian people kept giving her clothes. I love that she capitalized that. That's great. They did. They kept giving her clothes. She never took the hint. She would not. One would think she wasn't actually educated in international relations at all. ... Meghan Markle lies about everything. It is incredible. I love that they kept gifting her clothing. And yet, yeah, she never will. She will never take a hint. That would, and to her, that would mean, in my opinion, it would mean that she wasn't always right in her own mind. So she would never take advice from anyone else. That's why, in my opinion, why we always see her dressed the way she's dressed. Completely inappropriate for every occasion. Nothing fitting right. Nothing looks right, that sort of thing. Because she could never admit that anything she did wasn't perfect. All right, moving away from that trip, let's talk about this. Buckingham Palace, oh yeah, this was shared by J.E. May / Duchess Marmalade. Buckingham Palace is reviewing Sussex content on the royal website. They found the delete key on their keyboard. So have you seen this, where they've deleted Hank and Skank's, it was Hank's statement about confirming their romance, but also it was about the time where he issued that, just the beginning, that blistering attack against the press, where it's like, oh, you got to stop abusing her. Ah. Oh my God, I'd like to go back in time and tell myself, get ready, buckle up. This is just the beginning. I get stuck on this story too, and I think about this a lot. This whole thing that he did, and we've been through it, about how he launched this attack on the press back then, like, you gotta quit harassing her. She's my girlfriend, you know. Again, starting out playing victim. But think about it. Nobody else. He's sitting here claiming that they're treated so unfairly, and yet he's been on the attack since the beginning. He's going after, well, everybody about it, and since it's come out that nobody was attacking her, in fact, it was quite the opposite. There was a spectacular show of excitement around the relationship, and yet, again, they've always painted themselves as victims. It's not that I'm surprised if there's anything new, but it's interesting to see now that the royal website is deleting more things like this. I find that interesting, and I'm curious as what it's going to mean in the bigger picture. Please delete those too. Okay, this was also interesting. This was shared by Queen_Catherine. Now, of course, we watched and reacted to the Oprah monstrosity. I won't even call it an interview, just the Oprah Lie Fest, whatever you want to call it. But somebody showed the credits. I didn't even pay attention that there were credits. But when the Oprah interview was over and credits rolled, well, apparently Meghan took a big breath, realizes what she's done, thinking she's screwed over the royal family. I find that hilarious. She really was smug, like the cat that swallowed the canary. But then it's funny now knowing how spectacularly this has backfired and how it's just shown over and over in print and in video how much they lie. But she does. She turns to him and they're giggling and they're just really relishing this. And it is funny to me knowing what we know now and seeing how she thinks she's gotten away with it. And yet, to me, this has been one of the best things to show how much you just can't trust them on anything. They lie about everything. Okay, so the next one is shared by According to Taz and bringing up how I'm feeling as well. I get so frustrated seeing articles like this, like Harry might reconcile. It's not his place to reconcile. He wrecked everything. He doesn't get to make up his mind that he's failed at everything else, so he's just going to reconcile. But According to Taz says, why do some people insist on a reconciliation even being possible? Harry only attacked his father a few weeks ago because he lied that the king was too busy to see him and he was forced to stay in a hotel. He lied to the media/public to play victim. Exactly this. It's always the case. And honestly, it's interesting to me that it happens so frequently that this wasn't even picked up on that big in the news because it happens so often. He does these things, Harry does these things like this where he puts out these stories. He pretends to be afraid of the press, puts out stories like this to try to attack Charles, make Charles seem like he's the, unhuman one, the unfeeling one. But it's Harry all along. It's absolutely ridiculous. And it makes me ill seeing more articles like this, like Harry might reconcile. Piss off, Harry. Nobody wants you. And we have this one by Daily Express talking about a possible reconciliation with William. Bullshit. But the British Prince, I thought, did a great job on this one and said, for the love of God, move on. With a quote from Prince William that says, I've put my arm around my brother all our lives, and I can't do that anymore. We're separate entities. Do you think we'll continue to see more things like this, though, more faux reconciliation articles? Because what else do they have? Again, they're failing spectacularly at every single thing that they're doing. So they have to try to attach their names in some way. It's like when we found out about the diagnosis about King Charles as well as Catherine, Princess of Wales. And then we have these articles popping up saying, oh, Harry's willing to help out. I'm sure he is. Of course he wants his name associated with, the actual working royals. It's, again, just because you're failing at everything doesn't mean you get to just come back and attach your name to them. It's truly disgusting. He's just as awful, if not worse, as she is. Talking about Meghan, of course. Just gross to see. Okay, we're going to leave on this one, but it's so interesting to me. I had to talk about it. J.E. May, Duchess Marmalade, points out, we've often commented on the original photo, noting that the infant is unprotected in direct sunlight, and the reaction of people standing nearby, it was so awkward to watch. And I've actually reacted to it on Patreon. We looked at the video, but it's just interesting to point out, we've noticed, but I see what you're saying, how unhappy Meghan looks with an upset expression on social outing with her newborn. It's interesting to see. I'm stuck on this as well. I feel like I could go over and over this. But to me, it plays into exactly why we never would see the kids. She cannot stand to share the spotlight with anybody. Yeah, I mean, we see it with Harry even. She can't stand it. So the idea that people would be taking a picture of her baby and not fully focused on her, I hate this moment. This moment actually distresses me as a parent as well. Just not having him covered up out in the sun, a big outing for such a little baby. And it's just not something I would normally even notice on parents, but it's just so noticeable here. And look at her face. And sure, you could say, okay, 1 second she makes a face, we're focusing too hard, but watch the whole outing. It's interesting to watch because, again, we do get focused on exactly what J.E. May is saying here. Why isn't he covered up? Why wouldn't you protect him from the sun? What's he do? Where's his hat? Whatever. But no, but also look at Meghan and truly how miserable she looks. I think that's just her miserable personality. But I'm going to leave it here. Guys, thank you again. Again, sorry about the travel mic. I know you guys always say you sound a little bit more goosey. That's a great way to describe it. That's what it is. But I'm having the best time. I'm so excited. Thank you again for the huge response to the videos and the birthday wishes and all the kind words. I really appreciate it. So I'm checking back out for a few more days. Lots of good stuff coming up, though. Stuff I had pre-recorded. Excited to share with you. Fun stuff that we recorded. Stephanie from the Sidley twins and I recorded together. That's coming out. Lots of good stuff. So check back lots. Thank you for being here. Thank you for all the lovely comments. I truly hope you have the best day. Oh, and just such good news. I didn't pull it here, but, you know, hearing stories that Catherine, Princess of Wales, has been spotted out more and trying to get out more. I hope that that's the case. Whatever she needs to do, I support. But just the idea that she'd be able to get out more makes my heart so happy. But I truly appreciate you all so much. I really do. I hope you all have the best day, and I can't wait to bring you more stuff like this. You guys take care, and I'll talk to you again soon. Honk, honk, everyone.